Sports in the city. Sports in the city. Sports in the city. We keeping it gritty with that sports in the city. Coming to you live from the arena. Welcome to Sports in the City. From the East Coast to the West Coast, from the South to the North, there's a sports in the city wherever you are. Thanks for tuning in. I'm your sports G, Reed Richards, along with my partner in crime, BK Ty, Brooklyn Zone. What's going on? Peace, God. We're back in
Evening, brother. How you feeling?
City. I'm here, man. I'm here. We're back in Sports in the City, doing it how we do it every Tuesday, Top Shelf Tuesday. How was the time with the family and friends?
Man, it was lovely. It's always good to get a few days to unwind and relax, man. And it's even better when you get to spend that time with family. So, shouts out to my family. Salute to you and yours, brother. Shouts out to everybody else out there. Hope y'all enjoyed your holiday.
Exactly. Let's get the festivities started. Hit up that chat, get at us. Hit that like, share, and subscribe on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Sports in the City TV. Check in while we're live. Leave your comments. Let us know which top shelf sports topics you want to talk about, want to sponsor the show. Let us know. So here we go. Let's get to it. This is going to be a classic. Classic, man. Geologic is going to be a classic. BK Ty, it's going to be a classic. 718, let's go. Sports in the City TV via the IRAD Network presents Top Shelf Tuesday. What's the story in the city? What's the haps from the arena? The Equinox progression, episode 11. We're going to be kicking it off with the NFL helmet to helmet segment. Week 12 will be high stepping through the league like Coach Prime. The Eagles keep finding ways to win. The playoff picture is developing. Frank Reich gets the axe. Round ball around the world. We picking and rolling through the rundown in the NBA Week 5. The in-season 20. Is it a go or no? Hit up that chat and let us know. Reaching the summit, will be backpedaling like Travis Hunter through the rivalry weeks. Slate of NCAA football games. Championship week is upon us. Coach Harbaugh returns from the Big Ten championship following his completion of his 3-game suspension. Followed by more Top Shelf. Reaching the Summit Part 2. Guts and Ice. Live from the arena. Live from the Diamond, the off-season. Our Monsters of the Week with the usual suspects and some new additions. Rising to the occasion like underdog with the upsets of the week. And we're going to close out the show with BK Ty's top 5 NBA lottery bus. So let's get to it. Strictly Top Shelf off the top of the pile.
When criminals in this world appear, bring the laws that they should fear.
NFL helmet to helmet. Start off with that Thanksgiving game. Told you them Lions was suspect. Everybody kept putting them against my Cowboys. They still yet to play each other, but they took an L to the Packers over the weekend. Over the Thanksgiving holiday. I'll let you comment on that because I've been telling cats that the Lions weren't Teflon like that.
That's the second bad outing that they've had in a row. Not looking good at all. They managed to squeak out that win last week, but this week, no such luck. It's catching up with them, and to your point, man, the chinks in the armor are starting to be exposed.
Mm-hmm. Usually, those Thanksgiving games are not a gimme because the Lions and the Cowboys usually play historically on Thanksgiving.
And but sticking to history, the Lions lost again. They normally do on Thanksgiving.
Well, hey, it is what it is. But I guess they were talking, like they were going to change something this year. 29-22. They made Jordan Love look like Aaron Rodgers in that game.
Sure.
Jordan Love had almost 340 yards passing. He had 2 touchdowns. Goff got off, but it wasn't enough as the Lions lose to the Packers 29-22. Any thoughts on that before we get to the next game? Cowboys 45, the Commies 10. Is that correct, or my eyes deceive me? I don't know, man. Dak keeps rolling, man. He threw for 4 touchdowns, 331 yards. CD Lamb, another 100-yard gain. So, but it's in Division 4 as well.
Yep.
And the Commies just keep on playing pedestrian. It's the word. The Cowboys are clicking on high cylinders. Dak is playing on an MVP level. DaRon Bland is vying for the Defensive Player of the Year, setting a record.
I'm pretty. It's got to be a lock right now. I can't see anybody else winning that.
Well, I mean, it's gonna be stiff competition. You got some cats that's doing their thing, especially on the defensive lineman side. Got Myles Garrett, cats like that who are doing their thing. But DaRon Bland having a record-setting season, that's going to be hard to top.
I think the Cowboys' record would definitely play into that as well.
Well, I think he has 5, 6 picks.
5. That's the record. He set the record with.
Yeah, he tied it last week.
Yeah, he tied. It was it 4?
At 4. It was at 4 last week.
It was 4. Yeah, so he broke it. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's definitely huge. Dak Prescott, they're doing their thing right now. A lot of people saying that's the best ball he's played in his career. And I would have to agree. But the usual knock, big game, playoff, and, I would have to tend to agree with those critics. Moving along, 49ers beat the Seahawks 31-13. And they are also clicking on all cylinders. Now that they have their multi-headed monster back in formation, Brock Purdy had a pedestrian game, 209 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 INT. He didn't go bananas. He didn't go crazy. CMC held it down with 114 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns. And he's back clicking like that Pro Bowl running back that he's known to be. I don't know why the Panthers gave up on him, but that's another story.
Because of the injuries, and they didn't want to pay him. But
don't seem hurt now. So
yeah, well, they definitely have a more complete team, and that definitely helps. And as far as Brock Purdy, I think it's to his advantage when San Francisco gets out the big leads. So the game is not put on Brock Purdy's shoulders for them to have to, make big plays in the passing game. This game fit right into the 49ers wheelhouse, what they tried to do. They worked them early, and the game was pretty much out of reach, before the fourth quarter came around. But shouts out to the 49ers, man, and big game coming up this weekend.
Shouts out to the 49ers. They're in our conference. Ain't no shouts out to the 49ers.
They in the conference, but they not.
Yeah, what do you mean shouts out? Like, what is shouts out for? For what? They won their game like they were supposed to, man.
Exactly.
I ain't shouting them out. You're a Giants fan. You ain't got to shout out 49er fans or 49er team. Like, what's wrong with you, man? You're too much of a nice guy sometimes. Shouts out. No shouts out to the 49ers, man. Hope they lose this coming weekend. They have to play the Eagles.
Hey, it don't make me no never mind.
I know. We understand. You got your draft. You got your draft hat on. We understand. But,
that off, man. They trying to screw that up.
Yeah, man. But, like I told you, you can't make a team tank, man. Whether it's the fans or the front office, the players still have their ego and their pride, and they ain't going out like that. They ain't going out like that.
Well, so, like I said, you don't ask the players to tank. You
I
know,
know we get into the scores though. Once we get to the Giants, we could discuss that. We just touched on that right quick, because I know that's part of the Giants' MO right now. We're gonna discuss that. The Dolphins beat up on the lowly Jets. I don't even know what to think like with the Jets anymore. Great defense, like putrid offense. Offense is none to be
I wouldn't even
had
say great
whatsoever.
defense anymore. I say a good defense.
Well, like I said, when you have a team that are not getting any touchdowns, much less. Matter of fact, not even getting first downs. They're like 3 and out. You have the greatest defense in the world, but if you have them on the field for the majority of the game, eventually they're gonna get tired. They're gonna get injured. They're gonna be in the trenches, like getting hit in the mouth all day. It takes a lot out of any defense to sustain that level of time of possession on the field. Like, like you can put the 85 Bears out there. If you have no offense, at least like an offense like the Bears, they had Walter Payton. It was a different time, different era. Then you had Jim McMahon was able to make timely key passes to move the sticks and to score in the red zone. So I don't know. The Jets don't even have that. They don't even have a semblance of an offense. What happened to their running game?
What running game? They never had one. That was the problem. That was
But
another
I thought
problem.
Priest was there, and then you have the other cooks who they brought in.
Breece Hall, and then they brought in what's the name from Minnesota?
Dalvin Cooks.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's the running game or
work and he was putting in work though in Minnesota. So he gets to the Jets and the scheme is just off. Like, that's one thing that I would have to say about both New York franchises is that they don't scheme or come up with like viable game plans. Like they don't utilize the weapons that they have, and their schemes are pretty much vanilla. Like you could see it coming a mile away. No creativity, no formations, no motions, no nothing, man, on the offense. It's like terrible to the point where they're worse than some college teams' offenses right now. So the Jets, A-Rod, I don't even think he should think about coming back, even if he can.
Absolutely shouldn't.
I think he's going to want to come back and just throw at least another series or something during this year. I don't know. That's just his mind state of using his will to conquer odds and obstacles. But I don't think it's recommended that he should even make an appearance. Not with this team. What are they, 4-8 now? Yeah. They fall to 4-8.
They're pretty much eliminated out of it. There's no reason.
Well, not mathematically yet, but
not mathematically.
And that's only because there's a cluster of teams that are like 6-5, 6-6, in both conferences. Moving along, we have the Falcons edging the Saints 24-15. Any thoughts on that? That's like that was and that was a game for first place in the NFC South.
Horrible. Well, I won't say a horrible division. Atlanta was actually playing pretty surprisingly better than expected this year.
Mm-hmm. They're 5-6. They're tied with the Saints, who are also 5-6. But the Falcons have the tiebreaker now. But those are divisions like that sometimes, where you have a 5-6 team at the top of the standings, because that's the mediocrity. Some call it mediocrity, some call it, parity. What do you call it?
It's a little bit of both.
Bad. Both teams just both. Bad or average, or there's just like teams are evenly matched and they're
I would say that because
any given Sunday they're winning or losing.
Yeah, because technically this is the cream of the crop in the division, these two teams. And 5 and 6. They're both 5 and 6. So
Yeah. Derek Carr, but that's the story of Derek Carr right now. He'll throw 300 yards, and then he threw a INT, not throwing that many touchdowns since he's left Oakland. And it's a different type of Saints team that are more anchored by their defense. And for some reason, the New Orleans offense has not really started clicking because Derek Carr used to air it out, and he used to put up big numbers, big numbers, average over 300, multiple touchdown games. I don't think the move to New Orleans has served him well. What are your thoughts on Derek Carr and his transition to New Orleans?
It's not like he was ringing bells with the Raiders either, man. You know, he's talented, but you're only as talented as the team around you. 304 yards, but
who was the coach? Josh McDaniels.
He was the coach. Yeah, he was the coach. Who's
with
the coach?
Raiders. With the Raiders.
Well, that's Pierce now. They got rid of Daniels.
No, I'm talking about his time in Oakland, as you mentioned.
Yeah, for sure.
He was with Josh McDaniels for most of his tenure. And then they lost confidence in him, Jimmy Garoppolo.
That cat should never, ever get a head coaching job ever again.
Yeah, we did discuss that. Steelers find another way to win as they edge the Bengals 16-10. Minus Joe Burrow, the Bengals fall to 5 and 6. The Steelers improved to 7 and 4. And after firing Matt Canada, they put up 400 total yards of offense. But my thing is okay, for one, you beat the Bengals without Joe Burrow. The other thing is, too, you put up 400 yards of offense, yet you only scored 16 points. Your thoughts on the Steelers, Mike Tomlin and his Pittsburgh Steelers?
Said it before. I don't even know if you can call them a bad team with a 7 and 4 record, but I think they're overachieving. If I'm not mistaken, the only team in the league, well, before this weekend, I'm not sure if that statistic still stands, but the only team in the league to have been outscored cumulatively by all of their opponents, but still have a winning record.
Right. They're finding different ways to win on special teams, on defense, blocking the field goal, hoping the other team misses a field goal, getting a pick six, returning a fumble. So they're doing it in every way possible. I don't know if they'll be able to really make any noise in the playoffs without a consistent offense. But, Mike Tomlin is saying that it's not going to be a eureka moment or a moment where they just get everything fixed. So we'll see when the playoffs come how they perform. But they're going to have to put together some reputable games on offense at least. Pickens is going to have to throw at least a couple touchdowns. They're going to have Najee Harris, at least put up a 100-yard game and run for a touchdown. We're going to need to see some improvements because now the onus or the blame is not on Matt Canada. So they make a in-season firing, which they have not done in their total history. So now they have to prove that it was on Matt Canada and he was the problem. Because if not, you're going to do all of that firing of Matt Canada and still perform porously. I mean, like I said, they broke out with 400 yards, but you only get 16 points out of that. Is that a testament to the Bengals defense or just shows how porous the Steelers offense is?
It's definitely more indicative of Pittsburgh's offensive struggles, which is crazy because, looking at their record, well, it's a thought right now that the AFC North, the AFC North could send 3 teams to the playoffs, Pittsburgh being one of them.
That their schedule is definitely favorable right now. As far as sending 3, that's yet to be seen. But The word on the
Cardinals,
streets.
Pats, Colts. They got the Bengals again. Seattle and Baltimore.
Yeah. You know, that's a story in the city right now that the AFC North could send 3 teams. Yep. We'll see, though. We'll see. Moving along, we have the Titans and the Panthers, and the Titans seem to be getting a resurgence. You know, Derrick Henry is putting his numbers up once again, as he normally does. He had 2 touchdowns. Pedestrian, you know, performance by the QB, but they got the W, and they improved to 4-7. And the Panthers fall to 1-10, firing Frank Reich, who
they cleaned her house. I think
word in the city is that he wanted C.J. Stroud, and they went and drafted Bryce Young, so they can't keep him around.
You know what's crazy? The owner, I can't remember his name. The Panthers owner had a press conference today or something where he actually alluded to the fact that they had plans on picking C.J. Stroud, that they had plans on drafting up to pick C.J. Stroud, but the Brain Trust, I guess, decided to stick to their guns and go with Bryce Young, which of course made Houston.
But then they drafted one. So if they wanted C.J. Stroud, why didn't they just draft for him?
Exactly.
Why didn't they just make that with the first pick?
It doesn't even make sense. You trade up. It don't make sense to make that to make that assertion, to say that you had interest in C.J. Stroud. You didn't pick him. You know,
at this point, you should be hush on that. But I think Frank Reich was disgusted because every week they keep hearing that C.J. Stroud is balling out of control. I think he has the most passing yards in the AFC right now, and Sam Howell leads the whole NFC as far as passing yardage. C.J. Stroud is right up there. I think he's number 2. So I guess Frank Reich just got tired of being questioned. And Frank Reich having a long career, being a very serviceable quarterback, served as a backup for Jim Kelly with the Buffalo Bills teams. I think he orchestrated one of the greatest comebacks in playoff history, and his football mind is being questioned. Now, I don't know how it's going to go down as far as the whole narrative, but you can't blame Frank Reich because Bryce Young is not as good or has not performed as well as C.J. Stroud. How is that on Frank Reich?
Well, that goes to the age-old saying that you need synergy between your coach, your GM, and your owner. I think that's in any sport, but football, it's no less applicable. When there's no what is the word? Cohesion amongst the coaching staff and the front office, man. They're on different pages. So to your point, I think it was, Frank Reich was like, nah, don't do me no favors. Just let me go now. We're not gonna. I tell you what, man. David Tepper needs to go out and hire a GM and stop making football decisions, because he's been making some horrible football decisions. You trade the farm away for a chance to draft a number 1, and then you come in a press conference in your number 1's rookie season and talk about how you had interest in another quarterback.
That's not wise at all.
Not wise at all, man.
They fall to 1-10. They fire Frank Reich. What is that going to remedy? Nothing. They fired Matt Rule the year before, so it's just like a head coach
coaching carousel
right now.
The coaching carousel, and that falls back on the owner, because you need to fall back. The owner.
I heard that he's very word in the city is that he's very handsy. The Carolina Panthers coach is very handsy, and he's not getting good results. For being so handsy, that means that you're not really implementing what has gotten you to be a successful businessman, because football is a business, man. So
and what I saw something.
hold on. Let me just finish this thought. And then we could also add on with you were talking about cleaning house. Now, the same way in business that he would refer or let other people who know better make the decisions or have a strong council of people that are informed around you. He apparently is not doing that with his team. It's like a game to him. So
yeah, I heard him described this weekend as Jerry Jones without the Southern accent or need to be in front of the cameras, but
right,
just as controlling as Jerry Jones without the success. So
he's the GM too.
I think he's the acting GM. Yeah.
Gotcha. What you were saying about cleaning house?
No, they fired Reich, and if I'm not mistaken, I read something earlier or saw something earlier in the week where Reich wasn't the only one who got relieved of his duties.
Yeah, a lot of times they clean house where they get if they were Reich's guys or the same mentality, they get rid of the whole coaching staff. Correct. Not always, but in a lot of instances.
Yeah, that's it. They fired let's see. They fired offensive line coach Pat Meyer.
It was his fault too, right? It was his fault too, right? That the Panthers line is terrible. Bryce Young is getting beat up, man. They gave that young man no protection at all. And he's like about 5'11", 180 pounds, 185 pounds. He can't keep taking that punishment, man.
Oh, that's the other name. Deuce Staley, the running backs coach. Fired him as well.
Oh, yeah. Deuce, long-time NFL veteran. They gave him the boot, too?
Yeah, and there's another one. Oh, Josh McCown, quarterbacks coach. So they cleaned house.
Yeah, but like you said, that coach is maniacal. I think he might be a basket case, man. We're going to have to – any advice for the Panthers so before we move on?
I do. I got some advice for David Tepper, the owner of the Carolina Panthers. Hire a GM and go sit somewhere and chill out.
Yeah, just enjoy the fruits of your labor. He's trying to be too handsy on the team. That's not good. Neither team seems like they're going to be in any playoff contention. We definitely know the Panthers are eliminated. Are they eliminated mathematically already? Maybe. They right?
were eliminated like week 5.
Mentally, yeah, man. Moving along,
they're 1-10. It's over.
They're out. It's a wrap. Yeah. Moving along, the Colts over the Buccaneers 27-20 as Gardner Minshew filling in for Alexander is doing a serviceable job. And he's keeping the Colts right there, 6-5. They're in the playoff hunt.
They are. I don't. They're in the hunt, but barring a catastrophic fall off from Jacksonville, I don't see Indy getting in there.
Okay, they're 6-5. They're right in the hunt, though.
Let's see.
Are right in the hunt.
Tennessee, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Atlanta, Raiders, and Texans. So it's not an awful schedule for them.
Yeah.
Oh, some very winnable games up there.
Definitely. Gonna keep an eye on those Colts. Moving along, we're getting down to it. More baseball scores in the NFL than I've seen in a while. The New York Giants 10 over the Patriots, who had 7 points. They put up 7 it was the lowest scoring half in the NFL by 2 teams all year. Only 7 points. Giants scored a touchdown in the second quarter. The Patriots didn't score until the third quarter. And then finally, the Giants won the game behind Tommy DeVito's pedestrian performance of 191 yards, 1 touchdown, 10-7, man. Exciting game.
You want to hear something funny?
What's that?
So my son had just come back in the house from, I don't remember where he was at. Matter of fact, no, he was on his way out, and I'm fixing myself a snack, getting ready to put the game on and all of that.
Right.
And he was like, "Dad, I'll be back." And I was like, "Well, you going somewhere to watch the game?" And he gave me this look, like, "Really?"
Like,
and
really?
then he was telling, and then he was like, "Nah." He was like, "It's funny." He was like, "Cause my man Mel said, man, I don't even know why you watching that game. The score gonna be something like 10-7." Nail on the head, brother. That was the craziest.
Shout out to Mel. He got the score right.
Yo, it's
he
crazy.
Got the line right.
Nail on the head.
Cause I remember they had the line over or under 35. I was like, under.
Yeah.
The line on that game was over.
I don't know what DeVito they was watching, but yeah. I didn't see it.
It wasn't Danny DeVito because it wasn't nothing to laugh about, man.
Yeah.
Move it along. Any thoughts on your Giants where they're taking the rest of the season, man?
Yeah, thanks, Tommy DeVito, for screwing up our draft pick. I hear talk that possibly we'll get our quarterback back for next week's game.
Talking
Tyrod.
about Tyrod Taylor.
Tyrod, yeah. Okay. Not Danny Dimes. Right.
Well, he's done for the season.
Yeah, that's why I said Danny Duns.
Danny's done.
So
done. Danny's done. Yeah. So what's the strategy? They're gonna still try to win games, man. Evident 10-7 victory.
They are.
They're 4-8 now. So I mean, they're probably gonna have a top 5 pick, though. Probably. They might go on a roll. They might go on like
go on a roll
4 or 5 game winning streak.
Nah, I definitely don't see that happening at all. I see no such streak on the horizon. We got the Packers, the Saints, Eagles, Rams, and Eagles again. Well, we're lucky. I don't even think we'll get one win.
Packers, Saints,
Eagles, Rams, Eagles.
They can win.
Maybe the Rams. I don't know.
The Rams, they could beat the Packers. They can beat the Packers. And if Tyrod Taylor comes back,
I hope not.
They can beat the Eagles one of those games. They play the Eagles twice.
I don't see that. They just playing too well right now, man. They're playing too well, and we're playing entirely too suspect. I'm gonna tell you one of my biggest pet peeves with the Giants, man, and this is held true for I don't know how many years, and any Giants fan who actually watches the games will tell you our secondary, our tackling is piss poor. Piss poor, man. You know, I don't know how, like, I don't know what the statistic is, man, but the Giants probably give up the most yards after first contact on receivers out of any team. Well, probably not any team, because we still have like the Panthers and the Cardinals and teams like that. But I mean, that has historically been one of the biggest pet peeves for me as far as the Giants are concerned is tackling, man. Just very poor tackling.
Most definitely. That's one of the areas they need to improve. The defense is not terrible. Honestly, no. The Giants' defense is not terrible. It's just, again, if you don't have a good offense to try to complement that defense, eventually they're going to get tired.
Yep.
So we're going to move along from the Giants, and the baseball score 10-7 over the Patriots. Word in the city is that Bill Belichick will be gone from New England. And they're just giving him the courtesy of finishing out the season.
I don't know. I don't know. Like, you can argue all day. Was it Bill? Was it Tom Brady? That debate will go on for a while.
What we see is Tom, because soon as the Patriots are without Tom Brady, they haven't had a replacement quarterback that can come in.
Here's my argument to that.
And he went and won a whole nother Super Bowl. You can't argue that.
On another stacked team. on a sorry, let me take that back. Not another stacked team, on a stacked team. Because I don't know of any years where you could call any of the Patriots teams stacked.
Yeah, come on. They had a whole team of Hall of Famers on the Patriots.
Hall of Famers
especially in
because
the
of how
beginning.
Yeah, this is true.
I mean, you can't say that they would never. On defensive side, they had Teddy Bruschi, Rodney Harrison. They had a slew of Pro Bowlers and Hall of Famers on that defense, and they've always picked up the right player at the right time with the Patriots. You know, I mean, they had a 15-1 season. One time they had that team with Randy Moss. They were almost perfect. They've had great teams. I just think that now that Tom Brady has left, they have not found a replacement. It's hard to replace a generational talent, but at the same time, they have not coached Mac Jones up. They have not developed him. I think he's just been in there. I don't know what Bill is doing with his coaching schemes on the offensive side of the ball. Like, that's another thing that I noticed is like a lot of the older coaches, the offensive schemes are very predictable and very vanilla. And that's not going to do a quarterback any justice in a league where you have linemen and linebackers running 4.5, 4.6 and running you down like Micah Parsons, and they're on you in about 2 seconds flat. So I think if he doesn't leave, I think he needs to give up the GM job, man. Or do the opposite, go up to the GM position and let someone else step in. Like,
so here's the thing, right? They have to make a decision this offseason, you know, and I think it's going to just be some deep conversation because it's pretty much set in stone that they're going to go after another quarterback. And to your point, you know, do you let Bill, you know, who for all intents and purposes, we got to say it, he's on the hot seat. Do you let Bill draft another QB? Especially after he drafted Mac Jones, and to your point, Jones hasn't shown any development.
Well, so the coaches have not developed him.
Right. And what makes you think anything is going to be different if you let Belichick draft another QB?
Right.
And but the flip side to that is I don't think you get rid of Belichick unless you have a viable replacement lined up.
I mean, at this point, there are options that look like they could do better. Jim Harbaugh is, rumored to be leaving Michigan. I'll believe it when I see it because that's a great narrative to create. The other thing with the Patriots in that storyline is that Bill Belichick is number 2 behind Don Shula for all-time wins as a NFL coach. And he needs about 12 more games, somewhere along those lines. And at this rate, they're averaging 4, 5, 6 wins per season.
Yeah.
They're at 2-9 right now. So if they get 2 more wins, he's going to be 10 shy. And averaging 4 wins a season, it'll take him about another 3 seasons to even be in a position to tie or pass Don Shula's all-time wins record. So the Patriots do have a decision to make. So
I think it's a foregone conclusion that they're going to draft a QB. And as of right now, I think it looks like they have the 2nd overall pick. So
we shall see. We shall come back to the problems. Both teams are storied franchises. The Giants are one of the original franchises. The Patriots are definitely probably the most decorated franchise, regardless of their history with Spygate, Deflategate, or whatever. They got 6 chips, excuse me. Jaguars, 24. The Texans, 21. As they pip the Texans. C.J. Stroud was outplayed by Trevor Lawrence, who put up 364 yards, had 1 touchdown and 1 INT. C.J. Stroud falls back down to earth and shows that he's human. He takes an L. thoughts on that? The Texans fall to 6-5. No, excuse me, they're at 6-6, and the Jaguars are now 8-3.
Jaguars keep finding ways to win, man. Say what you want about them, but they're going to be there at the end of the season. You know, they're definitely, as it stands right now, like I said earlier, barring an incredible collapse by them, they'll definitely be going to the playoffs representing the AFC South. What they do after that, you know, that remains to be seen. But you know, Jacksonville again, man, just finding ways to pull it out, bro. Just finding ways to pull it out.
Yep. And the Broncos keep hitting that high trend. They keep high stepping. They beat the Browns 29-12. Russell Wilson did just enough to manage the game, throwing one touchdown. And, you know, he's using his legs more often on RPOs. So he's keeping the sticks moving and keeping the Broncos putting up points, you know, especially their very good second half team. And they're putting up the most points in the fourth quarter. So the Broncos continue their winning ways. They are now 6-5. And they're only one game
but not
behind
just the scoring.
The Browns.
Oh, sorry.
Excuse me?
No, I was going to say not just their scoring, man. The defense has stepped up too.
Yeah, since having 70 points put up on them, I mean, they had to get their act together. What better way to do it than to start showing the movement on the field? No
better time than the present, right?
Exactly. You're absolutely correct on that. Most def. Any thoughts on the Broncos-Browns? The Browns have taken a slide over the last 2-3 weeks since they lost Deshaun Watson.
Yeah. And then they lose the backup. They fall to
7-4. They fall to 7-4. No, well, unless that happened this week. They lost the backup, but he came back.
Okay.
He came back. And that's who came back. He was out while Deshaun Watson was in. And then Deshaun Watson went out and then he came back. So it's the quarterback, you know, merry-go-round over there. But, you know, it's been a lot of injuries this year. We'll see. The Browns have a stout defense, so that'll definitely keep them in contention. But they have to produce more because since Watson went down, I think he's done for the season. Had a torn rotator cuff.
Yeah,
so
he's
done. Out. He's done for the season. 29-12 Broncos over the Browns. Moving along, we have the Rams beating the Cardinals 37-14. The Rams improved to 5-6. The Cardinals fall to 2-10. Kyler Murray came back, 256 yards, one touchdown, but it was not enough to beat the Rams, who doubled up on the Cardinals, 37-14. Nothing to really too much to discuss with those two teams.
Yeah, I was about to say, man.
Matthew Stafford just came back, so I think injury again, you know, had plagued the Rams because once Stafford was down, that was it. Because one of the problems this year is that backup quarterbacks are not as good as they used to be. And with the turf, all these injuries, the NFL franchises and owners are stubborn. They don't want to change up the fields. So they're having a lot of injuries. This season has been so many injuries at the QB position, more than I've seen in like the last 20, 30 years. So if that's not a message to the NFL, I don't know what would be. If you spoke to the NFL owners right now, what would you tell them, man?
Protect your product, man. Absolutely protect your product, especially like in a case of well, no, I don't think his was a Nick Chubb? Was his a turf-related injury? Yeah, so look at that, man. Your franchise running back, first game of the season, man, is gone.
That was a horrific injury. That's why I blacked it out of my mind.
Aaron Rodgers, you know, it's another one. Cleat getting caught in the turf.
Daniel Jones.
Matter of fact, to go a step even further, they had somebody who was talking about, you know, the rubber pellets or chips or whatever that they have mixed into the turf to kind of give it a little give or whatever. Right. I think they were talking about a lineman who, while he was tackled, had some of them fly up in his eye and missed a couple of plays, you know, because they had to tend to that or whatever. it's just, man, it's time to get rid of it, man. These owners are making money hand over fist, and I understand, you can't tell somebody what to do with their money, but at the end of the day, you got to protect your investment, man. And natural grass over turf is not going to guarantee any, it's not going to guarantee that your team will be healthier longer, but it definitely helps.
Well, historically, it shows that there are less injuries on natural grass.
Less non-contact injuries.
Right. Well, I mean, that's what you want with the field. I mean, if you get hit by another player and you get injured, that's going to happen whether you're on turf or not, right?
Yeah.
So the non-contact injuries, and then when they hit the turf, like a lot of the field isn't that how Tyrod Taylor got hurt? The turf didn't give, and it.
Well, I think the way he kind of
they body slammed him.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know that could have been avoided the way he was tackled.
Gotcha. So moving along, we got the Chiefs 31 over the Raiders. The honeymoon with Antonio Pierce comes to a sudden end. But, I mean, they're playing better. The Chiefs now improved to 8-3. They're right there as far as with any team in the NFL on any given Sunday, any given Thursday. Mahomes puts up almost 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. His receiving was a little bit better. Jacobs for the Raiders rushes for 110 and 1 touchdown. But like I said, with Garoppolo's out for the Raiders, so I don't think that they're really set up in the QB position right now. They have a backup in there also, and it's been kind of a mess in Raiders town anyway. Las Vegas. I was about to say Oakland Raiders in Las Vegas. They went from Oakland, Los Angeles, now they're in Las Vegas. So I can't keep up with the Raiders and all their moves, man.
You're right.
So I can't. But they fall to 5-7, and they seem to be slipping out of playoff contention, although they're not mathematically eliminated yet. So we're going to move along from that game, and we're going to talk about, which I thought was the game of the week, the Eagles pipping the Bills 37-34.
Crazy.
Jalen Hurts, 339 yards, 2 touchdowns in the air. 3 touchdowns in the air, 2 on the ground. He threw 1 INT. He's not playing like what the greatest QB rating. His QB rating is like a 63. But he's carrying the team on his back, man, and he's willing them to win. 3 in the air, 2 on the ground.
65 yards rushing is nothing to sneeze at.
No, not that, but his QBR rating is not up there where Brock Purdy's about 10 points better, 10 percentage points better. Even Dak is 10. I ain't gonna say even Dak. Dak is balling out of his mind. But as far as like the quarterback play, they've been getting it done in different ways. And right now, word in city is that he's not playing as well as Dak Prescott, and I would have to agree. But they just keep finding ways to win. They finding ways to win. Yeah.
So, Buffalo keeps finding ways to lose.
I don't know. I think they just got beat by a better team. You think so?
They were in there, man. I mean, the fact that it went to OT,
right?
To get that close, man, and then before the game started, who would have thought that Buffalo was going to take Philly to overtime? So I guess that goes into the overused any given Sunday mantra, but
they had the game. But Philly is a hard out. They're a gritty team that is resilient and finds a way to win. And they improved to 10-1. They're the top seed in the NFC, and they seem like the favorite to win it all. So we're going to definitely discuss them in the top 5. The Ravens, another team who improves their record. They now improved to 9-3 over the Chargers, who seem to cannot catch a break. They fall to 4-7, 20-10. Ravens, they just keep finding ways to win also.
Yep.
They're not doing it in spectacular fashion. Like 1 week is the passing, 1 week is the running, 1 week is Lamar Jackson, 1 week is the defense. But the thing that scares me with the Ravens is that they either they'll give up a game where they just get blown out, or they just seem to not show up. And I have to see how they perform versus the Chiefs, because ultimately all roads to the Super Bowl, in my opinion, is going to have to go through the Chiefs in the AFC. Until someone knocks them off during the playoffs and Patrick Mahomes, I would have to say that I still favor the Chiefs if it was the playoffs today. But the Ravens seem to have a very stout team. What are your thoughts on the Ravens?
The Ravens probably stand the best chance in the last, I don't know how many years, of making the Chiefs play a road game in the playoffs. I don't think that. Well, not the Chiefs. Let's say Pat Mahomes hasn't played a road playoff game
in his career.
In his career, exactly.
Right. That's true. Well, we're gonna have to wait and see on that. They are 1 game ahead of the Chiefs. The Ravens at 9-3, and finally, one of the upsets of the week from the underdog Bears. They pipped the Vikings 12-10, and the honeymoon with Josh Dobbs seems to be over. He threw 4 INTs in that game.
Yeah, Bears defense stepping up.
He got outplayed by Justin Fields. So, what are your thoughts? Josh Gibbs was a flash. Josh Dobbs, is a flash in the pan, or is he the real deal? Or did he just catch lightning in a bottle?
I won't go as far as calling him the real deal. If you're the real deal, you don't play for 3 different teams in 2 seasons. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know about the real deal. I think Dobbs has a certain, game awareness with him. I think it caught a lot of people. It really impressed a lot of people when he came in to that last game for Minnesota. No practice, no real repetitions or anything, and went out there and put in work, But once teams have, they can game plan for you, it's a whole different ball game. And I definitely think Chicago's defense, they definitely stepped it up and made sure nothing easy happened for Josh Dobbs this weekend.
Right.
And the defense is not even that great, So to your point, I guess the honeymoon is over for Dobbs.
Well, word in the city was that the Bears defense did step up. Although they might not have been performing on the highest level so far during the season, they stepped it up. And with Dobbs as the backup quarterback, it looks like he definitely made some reads that were not effective and threw those 4 INTs. And the pressure of just being an NFL quarterback could just be getting to him. As I mentioned, being an NFL quarterback is one of the hardest things to do in sports. So, hey, it's showing Dobbs. Hopefully he has a bounce-back game because what's his name? Kirk Cousins is not going to be back anytime soon. So we're going to move along. Top 5 teams in the NFL right now.
Top 5 teams in the NFL. Philly. Be more again. Philly, Be more, San Fran. Philly, Be more, San Fran, KC, and Dallas.
Okay. Top 5. I have the Eagles at 1. I have the 49ers at 2. At 3, I have the Chiefs. At 4, I have the Ravens. At 5, I have the Cowboys. That's
Same
that's
teams,
my top
different
5.
order.
Yeah, that's my top 5 right now. And then, we'll
The
see
Chiefs
what
at number
happens
2,
next
huh?
week. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're 8-3. The Ravens have one game, and I know you can't go on past performance, but like I said, any team that has Patrick Mahomes stands a chance to win, and that
You're right.
defense is
You
playing a
can't
lot
you
better.
can't count Mahomes out until he shows you that he can be counted out.
Otherwise, definitely, that's the top 5. Closing out the NFL helmet to helmet segment. Moving along, round ball around the world, picking and rolling through the NBA's rundown. NBA Week 5, the in-season tourneys. Is it a go or a no?
It's definitely a go. I think the biggest complaint so far has been the colors on the courts, but other than that,
they've been kind of gaudy, right?
Yeah, a bit much. But I say that the in-season tournament so far seems to have been a success, man. Like that, it's definitely brought a playoff atmosphere to a lot of the games.
How's the tournament looking right now? It's heading into the quarterfinals.
Let me see. I just had it up there.
All right, while you pull that up, I'm gonna run through the standings. Right now, the Celtics are top of the Eastern Conference at 13-4, followed by the Orlando Magic, the surprising upstart Magic at 12-5, Milwaukee Bucks 12-5, Philadelphia 76ers 12-5, Miami Heat at 10-7, Pacers 9-7, New York Knicks at 9-7, Cleveland 9-8, and Atlanta Hawks at 8-8. And the cutoff would be the Brooklyn Nets, who are at 8-9. Western Conference, you have the upstart Timberwolves at 12-4. OKC with SGA at 12-6. The Nuggets at 11-6. The Suns are bouncing back and they're at 10-6. Mavericks 9-6. The Kings are 8-6. Rockets at 10-8. The Lakers, who took the worst loss last night in LeBron James's history, his whole career, not just with one team, fall at 9-9. The Pelicans are 8-9, and the Warriors are 7-9, followed by the Clippers, who still haven't gotten it together with the James Harden experiment, fall to 6-11. Then season 20. What's the stands? I know the New York Knicks are 2-1. They pulled out a big victory over the Miami Heat on Friday.
That was absolutely a big victory. That was absolutely a big victory, man. Jalen Brunson, further putting in his bid for an all-star selection is going to be tough. It's going to be tough, man. We talking about Halliburton. Halliburton. Who else? Dame, Tyrese Maxey. It's not
played just as good as any of them. So
he has, but record-wise, I think, with the exception of Indiana, they're all doing better than us right now. So
yeah, but is it a team selection or individual selection?
It's not a team selection. It's definitely an individual selection, but individual selection as far as when with the fan voting, the records go out the window. You can have the most popular player on the planet, but I don't know that, and that's typically something that happens with like phenoms or rookies that come in the league, or foreign players that get support from their countrymen and from overseas and stuff like that. Brunson is balling right now. I think if he gets in, it's going to be by virtue of coach's selection.
We'll see. Definitely
Jalen Brunson's a beast, but I can't see fans voting him in, man. The Knicks are not. I don't know. I don't think he's a household enough name. You know what I'm saying?
Why not? He's playing in New York, and he was getting his burn from when he was with Dallas.
Yeah.
And that's why they picked him. Although some people said, "Oh, they should have picked Donovan Mitchell. They should have pursued Donovan Mitchell instead of Jalen Brunson." They played. The two teams played last year in the playoffs, and Brunson led the Knicks to the victory over the Cavaliers. So It's highly debatable. That's highly debatable. Any other thoughts in season tournament? How the standings looking?
So Indiana so far is probably a lock in their group. They're 4-0 right now.
Right.
And that's in the East. We'll go through the Eastern Conference first. Indiana's a lock at 4-0. We got Milwaukee next up they're at 3-0. And then I think one of the surprise teams in the league this season, forget about the in-season tournament, has to be the Orlando Magic.
Right.
Right now they are 3-1 in their group. And it looks like they'll be advancing. So those are the top three teams in the East. As far as the in-season tournament is concerned, you have quite a few teams that are 2-1 right now. Cleveland, New York, Miami, Boston, Brooklyn, all stand a chance to make it into the tournament as well.
Right.
Then in the Western Conference, surprisingly, you have the Lakers leading their group at 4-0.
They went in on Tuesdays and Fridays.
But yeah, right. Exactly. And Phoenix right close on their tails at 3-1. You have the Pelicans, surprisingly. That's another team benefiting for the in-season tournament, but not so much so for the regular season itself. But the Pelicans right now, they're 3-1. So they have a leg up in their group, followed by the Rockets, another surprising team this season at 2-1. Then there's Sacramento in Group C. They're 3-0 right now, followed closely by Minnesota, who's considered the best defensive team in the league right now at 2-1. And then, of course, the Golden State Warriors, the Draymond Green-less
he's
Golden
back.
State Warriors.
He's back tonight.
Yeah, he's back tonight.
He's back tonight. So, tonight's the night.
Yeah. So that's how we're looking right now with the in-season tournament. As far as you just call out, the regular season and stuff like that. So it's still, I won't say it's anybody's game, but it's still pretty surprising. It's still a fairly young season, but I think the surprises so far are Orlando. Of course, they're, like I said, they're clicking on all cylinders, man, with a nice young team over there.
The T-Wolves and the
T-Wolves are another surprise. Well, in the East, Orlando 12-5, they're surprised. I think it's a surprise that Milwaukee is in third place overall in the East.
They're 12-5.
Yeah, 12-5. Well, I guess it's going by points per game.
They're only one game back.
Actually,
defensively, they've been questionable defensively, So right now you have the Celtics over the Bulls 33-20 in the second. The Nets 22, the Raptors 21 there in the first quarter. The Hawks over the Cavaliers 32-29. You have the Bucks over the Heat 31-22 at the end of the first. You have the Knicks over the Hornets 29-16, and that's the end of the first right now. So that's the scores right now for tonight. Went through the standings. Any other thoughts on around the world, NBA around the world, before we move on?
Yeah, I'm anxious to see how much longer LeBron goes, because this experiment in LA, I mean, LA is not a bad team, but, as comprised, I don't see them winning another chip, man. And I don't see AD, being the man ever again in his career, man. He's just far too brittle, and then he defers too much, man. I'm not gonna call him the biggest disappointment in the league, man, but I mean, because the man has a chip, you know what I'm saying? But if you're an LA Laker fan, I gotta imagine right now you're not too enthused with Anthony Davis. Whether it's the games where he gets injured and then becomes unavailable, or games where he just disappears, plays tentatively.
Right, but they lost by like 44, so I don't think we can put
points.
that We can't put all of that on Anthony Davis, though. But I get to your point. To your point, he got outplayed by Joel Embiid. And if not for nothing, he's supposed to step up, and compete. Where if he doesn't outplay Joel Embiid, he offset or cancels out. So if Joel puts up 30, he puts up in the high 20s, 30s, or outscores him. If he gets 15 rebounds, he gets 13 or more. If he gives 5 assists, then he has a match Embiid, and he didn't do that last night. But I can't put that whole loss. I think that was just like a team loss. LeBron was
it definitely was. But it shows that if LeBron doesn't have a LeBron James game, LA is in trouble. It's like you can't depend on Anthony Davis.
I think he has to save those. I think he has to save those for like playoff games or games that really. I'm not saying that the regular season doesn't matter, but LeBron James can't do old LeBron James every night. They have him on a minutes restriction. When he does play for higher he's playing for higher minutes in a game. Like the following game, he probably won't play as much. So it's like they have to pick and choose his spots where he can do. He can't do that for full 82 anymore. None of them have. None of them have.
Nah, but I think you need more consistent contributions from AD, though.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
To be considered one of the 75 greatest players of all time, which me personally, I don't. I think that's a, how do they say, that's a Travis mockery.
That's a reach. Yeah, that is. I don't know about that. I heard that was a word on the street, man, and the haps in the bar. It was like, yo, Anthony Davis, top 75. I don't know. That's highly questionable to me too, bro. But
I question a couple of those picks. Didn't Westbrook make it also?
Yeah, we
spoke
about that. We spoke about that. Yeah, we spoke about that. Like on one, they had Dominique Wilkins in the top 50, and then he fell off for the top 75. So I don't know. We said we were gonna go through that. Maybe during the All-Star break weekend, we'll go over that top 75, top 50 list, because that's highly debatable to me too, man. So we're going to have to table that one as we're cutting it close for time. Reaching the summit, backpedaling like Travis Hunter through the rivalry weeks. Slate of NCAA football games. Championship week is coming up, and Coach Harbaugh returns for the Big Ten championship after serving his 3-game suspension. So we're going to run through the scores first. And it was rivalry week. So Ole Miss over Mississippi State, 17-7. If you have any thoughts, just stop me. Let me know. Oregon beats Oregon State, 31-7. 57, Texas over Texas Tech, 57-7 in a mollywop, and they just beat them all the way down.
That wasn't even a game.
Right. Exactly. Missouri over Arkansas, 8-14. Penn State, 42. They gave Michigan State,
shut out.
A donut. They gave them the egg.
Michigan State the donut.
Wow, that's surprising. And Oklahoma.
Shout out to my brother-in-law, Jared Abney, Penn State alum.
All right. Oklahoma 69, TCU 45. And we have Iowa 13 to Nebraska's 10 in the Pippin by Iowa. Who's going to be bowl. Yeah, that was another baseball score. But Iowa's going to be playing for the Big Ten championship this weekend. So we'll see how that works out. Oklahoma almost put up a 70 on TCU. TCU has a porous defense. And we had the Utes getting beat by the Trojans. So they lose in that game 29-17. And I think that rounds out the scores right there. Top 25.
You mentioned Ohio State, Michigan.
Georgia. Georgia beats Georgia Tech 31-23. And then we had Ohio State losing to Michigan 30-24. Washington State gets pipped by Washington 24-21. And Florida State beats Florida 24-15. Alabama had a hard time with Auburn as they pipped them 27-24. Kentucky upsets Louisville 38-31. Texas A&M falls to LSU 42-30. And then Arizona mopped up Arizona State 59-23. Notre Dame 56. Stanford 23. Iowa State 42. And Kansas State. Yeah. Iowa State 42 over Kansas State, who put up 35 points. BYU falls to Oklahoma State 40-34. Tennessee 48, Vanderbilt 24. NC State, Wolfpack over North Carolina 39-20. Clemson beats out South Carolina 16-7. And Liberty beats UTEP 42-38. And that rounds out all of the rivalry week games. Any thoughts on rivalry week?
Welcome back, Coach Harbaugh. That was what did I tell you? That was going to be the game, man. Miami, look at me, Miami, Michigan, and Ohio State. First game this season that Ohio State has given up more than 17 points.
But I mean, Ohio State is bigger, stiffer competition.
Yeah.
They gave up 24. So that Ohio State team has been rolling.
They have.
But they still won though. So the sign signal stealing, Harbaugh served that suspension already. So
yep.
And the fact now, if they would have lost that game to OSU, then that would be different. Ohio State University. Then you'd be hearing about that all day, all weekend. But what you hear more about now is the Michigan Wolverine team coming together, galvanizing, and just rallying around their coach. And I think it was kind of a witch hunt, but who am I to say? I think they just started taking the sign signal stealing to another level, and other teams are like, damn, we ain't doing it as good as they are.
Right.
We gotta bring that back down to earth until we catch up. I think once all of the teams on the same playing field, same level playing field, you won't even. This will be an afterthought. I mean, in a lot of people's opinion, word in the city was that this was ludicrous, but it was a witch hunt. But he served a suspension. What I did appreciate was
irrefutable evidence. So he fell on his sword and was like, all right.
They got evidence on every team, I think. But I think they're not doing it as well as the Wolverines.
But I think the smoking gun was that they had hard evidence that a booster was actually funding whoever was going out to these games that they're forbidden to be at. Was actually funding whoever was going out there and recording the games or the practices or whatever the case may be. And I imagine Harbaugh had some ties to that booster, because aside from that, why else would you decide, all right, I'll go ahead and take the suspension?
But my thing is, all teams are doing it, as we understood, right? So why signal out Michigan? And he had some words. He'll be back this weekend for the Big Ten Championship. Let's hear what Jim Harbaugh had to say.
Start on the right here with Larry.
Jim, can you just share your emotions knowing that you can coach again? Game day.
Yeah, and I understand the attention. Me not being there was a big deal, but just I want to spend my time recognizing what was actually accomplished a couple days ago. Our team, and maybe they will, get the credit that they're due, but a tremendous testament to the coaches and the players, especially everyone everyone coming together, and the great and glorious victory for Michigan. I have this saying you're probably pretty familiar with. I use it mostly, really exclusively with, just the team or my family, and it's, who's got it better than us? And proper response is nobody. And something passed down from my dad, Jack Harbaugh. And it's more than just a cool saying. What I'm really saying when I'm talking to the team or the players is what I'm really stating to them is that there is no coach who could possibly have it better than to coach you. There's no dad that could possibly have it better when I'm talking to my kids. That's my love language. And when they say nobody back, what I'm hearing them say is, they love their team, they love their teammates, they love the direction of the program, and nobody could have it better than to be here. So that's my emotions.
Yep.
That's
Jim Harbaugh, he's saying all the right things right now.
Walking up the steps.
Any thoughts on Jim Harbaugh's thoughts during the press conference? He looked terrified in the beginning, though. Like he looked shook. He looked shook, daddy.
I admire him. I admire him for trying to take the spotlight off of him and putting it back on the team.
That he's done.
I say that much. They really trying to make it out about, yeah, man, was it good to be back? Are you glad to be back on the sidelines? And what can you say? Like, I don't want to talk about none of that, man. We just won the biggest game of the season.
Right.
And, the team is doing great. And we're operating on all cylinders. And we just want to celebrate and keep that in mind. We don't want to talk about no negativity.
They won that Big Ten championship. They win that Big Ten championship. They are probably assured a spot in the college football playoffs. So we're going to have to wait and see on that this weekend as they play the Iowa, the Hawkeyes.
Yeah,
Hawkeyes.
That has to be a far-going conclusion, though. I can't see them losing that game.
Iowa's ranked number 17, so it's not going to be a cakewalk, I don't think. But we shall see. Moving along to Reaching the Summit Part 2, we're going to run through the rankings right now. Got the top team right now is Purdue. The Boilermakers in number 1. Got the Arizona Wildcats ranked 2. Marquette at 3. UConn at 4. KU is at 5. The Houston is at 7. Excuse me. Duke is ranked number 7. The U was ranked 8. Baylor is ranked number 9. And rounding off the top 10, we got Tennessee, who surprisingly is still ranked number 10. They're at 4-2. Well, strength of schedule, probably.
Strength of schedule.
And then Gonzaga. Or sometimes they get a favorable match. Allergies is killing me today. Definitely. That definitely has a lot to play with it. Gonzaga is ranked number 11. University of Kentucky, FAU, Texas A&M, Creighton, and some few other teams, UNC. Any thoughts? No, it's early. We're talking about the sports equinox and the college football and the college basketball for the men's and women's have definitely made the equinox progress. We're about a month in, and I think the equinox is coming together very nicely right now. Although we dropped baseball, got football forming up, getting to a playoff picture developing. You got NBA basketball forming up. The season is very young, NHL very young. And then you have the college football about to go into the bowl games and the playoffs. You got college basketball, men and women, picking it up. And what are your thoughts on the sports equinox progression evolving?
Well, like I said, the traditional in its purest sense, the equinox is over. But back to the point that we made last week, this is probably the best time of year, sports wise, just because, first of all, you know, the weather's breaking. So for the most part, especially if you live in a state where it's cold weather, you're in the house on the weekends, if no other day. And there's a lot of sports to watch, a lot of sports. You got college basketball pretty much every night during the week, NBA, NHL. You know, it's a lot going on right now. It's a great time in sports, man.
It's a plethora of
excited.
sports.
I'm excited.
Yeah, baseball has wrapped up. We understand that. But like I said, a lot of people enjoy this time of the year. It's 1 month. So with the equinox, you have an equal, and then now you're going to go towards the solstice. We're getting into the winter. So, yeah, we moved on from the true balance of the equinox. But that plethora of ability to either put on NHL game, a basketball game, college basketball men's, college basketball women's. Then you have football games on Friday. You got the bowl games coming up Saturday. And then you know you're going to have the bowl games all the way through the New Year's. That's a great time. And you have the NFL playoffs about to kick it in. Baseball is going to come back as far as like the winter talks. It's going to be interesting to see how this develops. Moving along to the NCAA women's top rankings, South Carolina and Dawn Staley's holding on to the number 1 spot. Got UCLA at number 2, Stanford at 3, Iowa at 4, NCSU at 5, USC at 6, LSU at 7, Colorado Lady Buffaloes are also at 7, although they dropped a few slots. They dropped 4 slots. VTech is at 9, Texas is at 10, and UConn is rounding out the top 11. Utah is at 12. Baylor's at 13 for the women's side. KSU 14. FSU, OSU, IU, Notre Dame. And your thoughts on the top teams in NCAA women's? Did we get an Angel Reese sighting?
No, not yet. I heard she's coming back.
She's coming back? Okay.
She's not back yet, to my knowledge, man. And they still haven't given any explanation as to why she was missing those games.
Wow.
You know, but kind of to the point I was making last week, you know, shouts out to Carolina in that number 1 spot. Shouts out to Coach Staley. Stanford, you know, perennial top seed in women's basketball. They're up there at number 3.
Right.
NC State, shouts out to them, you know, coming along. But yeah, LSU, let's see, you know, what's
She's
going on.
She's not back, so we got to send another APB out for Angel Reese if she doesn't show up by sometime this week. Like, come on, Angel. You're letting your team down. Unless it's a dire family emergency or health reason, there's no reason why you shouldn't be on the court.
I think if it was something to that effect, they would have kind of alluded to it. You know, then she tweeted something out this week or whatever, like, don't believe everything you read, or
about her poor grades.
You know, I mean, right. So you're not going to explain why you're out or absent. You're just going to say that everybody else is lying. You know, we'll see. But, you know, to their point, after that hiccup with Colorado, man, they've been rolling. So,
right. And they have a real strong recruitment class that they brought in. So, Angel Reese, they might not need you after it's all said and done with the this and the that. Maybe they're tired of your shenanigans anyway. But, you know, they're holding Angel Reese down, so we'll see. We have to see. Moving along, we got the guts and nice. Got to go through the NHL standings. But first, before we go through the standings and a couple scores, the Senators and the Panthers brawl last night. The Canuck brothers set it off. And then from there, it was just, they had to stop the game, man. We could take a look at that.
The slash maybe coming from Kulikov.
Here we go.
on the original call, and now
They
every
bum
player
rushed
on
him.
the ice is getting a penalty. The referee has sent the ball. I mean, there's no doubt you're going to get
Ottawa
a fight
penalty
from
number
Brady Tkachuk.
7
I mean,
has 2 minutes for goaltender interference, 2 minutes for roughing. Florida, number 12, has 2 minutes for roughing, and then every player on the ice has a 10-minute misconduct. Florida will have a 2-minute power play.
So the penalty was on Tkachuk.
Incredible.
That's crazy.
Interference
Kachuk versus
after the
Kachuk.
shot on the breakaway.
Right.
That's
And they had the
only
parents
way
up in
I
the
could see that
stands,
happening, and
the
Yeah.
father,
not
the
quite sure, but he's
grandfather,
gonna
the
vacate
grandmother,
and
the
along with
mother
the rest of them.
were all
That
up in the
might be a way
stands.
to settle this thing down a bit.
I haven't seen something like that since
And off goes Captain
I first
Brady,
started
so he'll hit
watching
the showers
hockey.
early. And there's
It's
Geraldine,
like, wow.
Grandma Kachuk's reaction. And I don't remember the last time I saw 10-minute misconduct
To everybody.
handed out to everybody.
I thought he gave
Exactly.
one there.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying.
This is,
I don't
Like,
remember the
he
last
doesn't
time
want
I've
to go
seen
through
that.
the numbers and names.
No.
It just takes too much time. Everybody.
If ever.
That's it.
We're not going
Everybody.
to sort out who's got a penalty. We'll just kick everyone that
Right,
was on the ice
everybody.
off.
That was
Even
crazy.
Paul
Have you ever
Maurice,
seen
as
anything
angry
like
as
that,
he's
Josh?
been, this
Never.
game, he's actually
I mean, I don't really watch
Kachuk
hockey
was
like
the
that, but
bench
that's
is
crazy.
There's plenty of room now
Yeah, I know, but
for everyone.
for any game you've ever seen, like it's unheard of. Because whether you watch hockey a lot or not, if you hear of everybody on the floor being penalized, that's gonna be, something that you hear the next day or during the week. Like, yo, they had a big brouhaha, the Panthers and the Senators. And that was just crazy. That first dude caught it. Like 4 or 5 cats just jumped on him right off the rip. Dangerous game, man. Dangerous game to play. Hockey.
Dangerous indeed.
Yeah, so the Panthers ended up winning that game 5-0. The Sabres beat the Rangers 5-1. And the Blue Jackets upset the Bruins 5-2. And we have the Avalanche over the Lightning 4-1. Florida pips Golden Knights in an upset 2-1. And the Sharks beat the Capitals 2-1. Eastern Conference got the Bruins at the top, followed by the Panthers and the Detroit Red Wings, both at 13-7. Got the Lightning and the Maple Leafs at 11-6. And you have the Buffalo Sabres 10-7, in the Eastern Conference. Metropolitan is head up by the New York Rangers, who are now 10-10. Oh, wow. They were just up there.
No, 15-4.
Wins and losses. Oh, yeah, 15-4.
Yeah.
And they're followed by the Carolina Hurricanes and then the New York Islanders and the Capitals. Moving along to the Western Conference, the Colorado Avalanche is still up top the division, followed by the Dallas Stars, the Winnipeg Jets, St. Louis Blues, Nashville Predators, Arizona Coyotes, and the Minnesota Wild. In the Pacifics, we have the Golden Knights at top, followed by the Los Angeles Kings. And we're going to move along. I just wanted to cover that brawl because that was kind of crazy. I haven't seen anything like that in a lot of years of watching NHL hockey or just hearing anything of the sport. Never heard anything like that in the NHL. So we're going to close that out. Moving along, live from the Diamond, the offseason has begun. As we discussed, congratulations to Garrett Cole for winning the AL Cy Young. Although his season was wasted by a porous performance by the Yankees, who ended the season with 80 wins and 82 losses, Garrett Cole was still the best pitcher in the AL. Like a 14-5 record, over 200 innings pitched, led the league in strikeouts. Hopefully the Yankees can field a better roster next year so that they can perform better and make the playoffs. Didn't even make the playoffs. Any thoughts on the Yankees or the Mets?
Man, I just hope that we could get rid of Stanton.
Really?
So like Stanton, man, I mean, a lot hinges on, being able to move him. And I know Cashman is making some calculated plays right now, you know, trying to subliminally disparage Stanton, and, you know, him and his agent are, you know, talking bad about the Yankees and stuff like that. But he ain't waiving that no trade clause.
Right.
He's not doing that. You know what I mean? And at the same time, even if he does, I think it was you. If it wasn't you, it was somebody else that was saying, you know, I was asking, what is the attraction for any team to take on that salary? You know,
that's a good question.
I can't see it, especially with his injury history.
Doing them a favor? Because you have historically the Minnesota teams like the Minnesota Twins have been known to be a farm team of the Yankees. So when they needed to get rid of players, they would trade them off to the Twins. That's a good question. I don't think there's a valid answer for it. Like, why would you take on an often injury-riddled slugger who gives you limited play in the outfield? That's a good question, but I just want to get rid of him right now. If he has any years left, it's going to be difficult to keep him on the team because he's obviously going to stop one of the young prospects from coming.
34 years old too.
But then how do you justify paying him that amount of money and then not playing him? So they have to kind of play him just to appease. They have to play him. I mean, they don't have to technically, but to try to get most out of their investment. But shout out to Garrett Cole, like I said. In the National Leagues, Blake Snell, Ronald Acuna Jr. wins his MVP. Shohei Ohtani wins the MVP in the AL. And that about covers it right now. The talks have not really started to heat up yet. But like we said, Ohtani is due to probably make the first $500 million contract in baseball. But I kind of question that because you're going to have to give him at least 10 years. Because what are they going to give him? They're going to give him what? Unless they give him upwards of $50 million per year, they're going to have to give him a 10-year contract. So, and historically, those contracts that have been 10 years or more, you have Alex Rodriguez got a 10-year contract. And then towards the end, you know, it wasn't worth it for the Yankees.
Yep.
Albert Pujols signed a 10-year contract. You have old boy that used to play for the Yankees, Robinson Cano. Cano,
yeah.
You give a player those long contracts towards the end, it's gonna not be to the team's benefit. But we're gonna take a look at what happens for the winter. Hopefully, if Brian Cashman wants to get the New York Yankee fan base trust back, find a way to get rid of Giancarlo Stanton. And I think they'll win it back. He'll win some of the favor back because Cashman has not been making stellar moves by any stretch of the imagination. The Mets just brought in a new manager, Carlos Mendoza. I don't know if any relation to Felix Mendoza, who the Mendoza line hitting below 200 was named after. But hopefully he brings some success because Buck Showalter had the Mets winning 103 games the prior season. So he's going to have to really show that he's worth even holding that position down because he does not have that much head coaching experience as a baseball manager.
Yeah, but they do so much analytics now, man. It's crazy.
That's part of the problem.
Yeah, because they rely so much on
the problem.
And that's why Showalter left. Showalter's like, man, I don't do the analytics stuff, man. I coach by feel. I think Dusty Baker kind of had the same attitude about it. Like, you know, I'll take analytics into consideration, man, but coaching baseball is about feel, not analytics.
Yeah. Got to mix the two together. You can take a look at the analytics, but you definitely have to coach with instincts and coach from your gut, like the World Series winning manager Bruce Bochy. He combines the two, enough analytics to have the information available, but it's circumstantial, and during certain circumstances during the course of the game, you have to coach from your gut. You can't coach with just analytics. I think that's something that you mentioned, that too many teams don't know how to do well. They don't. Even the team that started analytics, the Oakland Athletics, they don't do it that well.
Moneyball.
Yeah, and they started the whole analytics in baseball strategy. So don't know about that, but we'll see. Hopefully the Mets and the Yankees have a stellar offseason and can have some bounce back years. Anything else before we move on from the diamond?
Nope.
All right, so we got our monsters of the week, usual suspects, and some new additions. Yeah, we had Deron Bland, who set the record for pick 6 in the season. He's definitely stepped in very, very big, in a huge way, for the injured Diggs, who was also a stellar cornerback. And then Deron is playing on as high a level or higher than Trayvon Diggs was playing, which is amazing. So he's definitely one of the monsters of the week. Giannis Antetokounmpo. You got Dak Prescott balling out of his mind. CMC, Josh Allen, and you have Caitlin Clark still doing her numbers. She's killing. Jalen Brunson, SGA, Bo Nix, Dylan Gabriel, and any other monsters of the week that I may have forgotten.
Shout out to my guy. Oh, I got a monster for you.
Who's that?
It's not a monster in a good way either. So Chicago Blackhawks, NHL Chicago Blackhawks rookie Connor Bedard.
Mm-hmm.
So the Blackhawks do this thing, it's called like Mom's Day or Mom's Week or something to that effect.
Mm-hmm.
Where they, it's a mom's trip, actually. That's what it's called, the mom's trip.
Okay.
And, they have team members, mothers that, come along on a road trip with the team, just support morale, whatever.
Right.
And, Connor Bedard, who is the number one
17?
pick.
His
Yeah,
mom's
he's like
is
17 and 18 years
right,
old.
so she's probably less than 40 or about 40 years old, right?
Right. So Connor Bedard's teammate, Corey Perry,
right,
was caught in a compromising situation with Connor Bedard's mom.
He was getting the skins? Wow.
Monstrous. Crazy. Take it a step further. Apparently, Chicago has cut Corey
right?
Perry. Yeah. So I don't know if they released. I don't think they released him because of that. But the question I'm wondering is,
they said word in the city was conduct unbecoming.
Yeah,
unacceptable conduct.
Right. Exactly. Unacceptable conduct. But I don't know if it was just because of the thing with Bedard's mom.
Bedard is their star rookie, so
exactly.
If he caught feelings about that, like they're not getting rid of Connor because they say he's the next great one. They're not getting rid of him. So
true that.
See you later, Corey.
See you later, Corey Perry.
That's it, bro. Hope you enjoyed it while it lasted.
Right. Hope
it might have been the best he ever had. I hope it should have been the best he ever had. If you're gonna risk your spot on the team for it, boy. Like no one pulled his coat. Like those are certain things. Like you got to use your mind and That's when he should have use analytics to get the outcome. Of what
Analyze the
happened.
situation. Analyze the
Right.
situation. And I think, you hear about stuff like that all the
Analyze
time.
and
Well, you don't hear about
realize.
it. You don't hear about it as much in baseball, I don't think, but you hear about it a lot in basketball.
Right.
Dudes, not to be disrespectful, but passing chicks around or, whatever the case may be. You hear about women dating this football player and having kids with him and then going to this football player. And
Right.
yeah, I heard she did. I heard she's pretty good looking. She is very, 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 very easy on the eyes. Connor Bedard's mom is. So
But is that worth your spot on the team though? Jeopardizing your career?
So, and that's a question that I have. That's why I said it's got to be more than just
him doing that.
Just what he did. You know what I mean? And then I'm wondering too if Perry was like to the point where he was just like, F it,
But remember,
I ain't getting no burn, or I'm on my way out the door anyway.
They fired the Boston Celtics coach last year, right? Udoka?
Right, but that was a different situation because
I know, but still, it still was within the organization.
It was, but it's
mom was. I mean, I know you're saying a weekend, but still, point being is you associated with the team, they're associated with the team. So there's messages that don't mess with anybody associated with the team that you haven't already had an established relationship with. And I think even then that would be kept under wraps. Something in his mind should have triggered, yo, let me not mess with this young kid's mom. He's a star player, rookie player. And there are other things that he did besides that. Corey Perry, excuse me. Connor Bedard is the rookie player.
It was Connor Bedard's mother.
Right.
It was consensual from all the reports. It was consensual. So
right. So that's the message that they're sending. Don't mess with nobody on the team. Because if Connor caught feelings behind it, if the moms was loving it, it was consensual. That's one thing. But now Connor is who they have to appease. And Connor is looked at as the future of their franchise. So if Connor feels the way about it, yo, Corey's hanging out with my moms.
We don't want anything disrupting the team. So
who they gonna get rid of? Connor or Corey?
Go.
Yeah, so they got rid of him. What we're gonna see is there anything else you think? We're gonna have to keep an eye on Corey Perry, but yeah, that was definitely monstrous. Definitely monstrous.
Yeah,
we're gonna move along from the monsters. The underdogs of the week rising to the occasion, like underdog with the upsets of the week. Pulling out the upsets this week, we had Kentucky, we had Iowa State, we had Green Bay, we had the Blue Jackets and the Flames. Any other upsets? Any other underdogs that rose to the occasion? And don't tell me the Giants, man. Over the Patriots.
I'm upset the Giants won. How about that?
I hear you, bro. I hear you. Definitely hear you on that, bro. So all the underdogs out there, keep doing your thing, rising to the occasion. We're gonna close out the show. It's been one hell of a ride. BK Todd's top 5 worst NBA lottery picks ever. Take it away, Ty.
Word up. So top 5 today, as Reed just alluded to, is actually it's not the worst ever. I'm only doing the top 5 worst NBA lottery picks since 2000. If we go before 2000, then we got dudes, and it's kind of hard to decide. It makes it that much harder to decide who's worse. I'll say this. Let me kind of preempt it by saying this. I think the worst draft pick of all time, and only because of how it panned out, is you got to go with Portland. Picking what's his name? Over Michael Jordan.
Sam Bowie. But that was in the 80s. That was 85, 84, 85.
85. Then we have a couple then you got LaRue Martin from 1972, who was actually picked over Bob McAdoo. And, you know, he never acclimated to the league. I think he was in the league for like 4 seasons.
Mhm.
You know, was kind of reclusive and shy and stuff like that.
Right.
Then you got Olowokandi. I think he was 89. You know, another, we'll say, waste of a pick. But let's get into it. The worst NBA lottery draft picks since the year 2000. Coming in at number 5, we got Stephen A. Smith's best friend, Kwame Brown, who was drafted number 1 overall in 2001 by the Washington Wizards. Famously told Doug Collins, then coach of the Washington Wizards, if you draft me, you will never regret it. And that's exactly what the Wizards did. They regretted it from the first season until they got rid of him 3 seasons later. Long story short, Kwame played for 7 teams in 12 seasons with a career average of 6 points and 5 rebounds. His best season coming in 03-04, where he averaged just under 11 points a game. Never in his career as a center breaking double digits in average for rebounding. Wow. So that's number crazy. 5, we got Kwame Brown. Coming in at number 4, we have Gonzaga's finest, Adam Morrison. Remember Mr. Porn Mustache?
Yeah.
Who everyone thought was going to be the next coming of Larry Bird.
Right.
Drafted number 3 overall in 2006. Check this out. Charlotte passed on Brandon Roy, Rudy Gay, Kyle Lowry, JJ Redick, and Rajon Rondo, and instead drafted Adam Morrison, number 3, who averaged 12 and 3 in his rookie year. Not bad, but he missed the next season with a leg injury and then only played 2 more years after that. So coming in at number 4, Adam Morrison. Number 3, 2013, the Cleveland Cavaliers saw fit to make Anthony Bennett their number 1 pick and the number 1 pick overall, hoping to jumpstart the Cleveland franchise back into relevance after LeBron's departure.
Right.
Didn't quite work out. In a career that lasted 4 seasons, 4 seasons, Anthony Bennett, a big man, averaged 4 points and 3 rebounds. He played in a total of 57 games in his career. And in his second year, he averaged 5 points, just under 4 rebounds in 16 minutes per game, which was probably his best season. Coming in at number 2, we have Greg Oden, who had just come off of a stellar season in Ohio State, leading them to a national championship in 2007, and parlayed that into becoming the number 1 pick of the Portland Trailblazers, who had plans on pairing him with Brandon Roy and LaMarcus Aldridge, and had visions of championships for years to come.
Right.
Never panned out. Greg Oden actually missed the first 3 seasons of his career due to various microfracture surgeries, and then played a total of 82 games in 5 years total in the NBA. Guess who Portland passed on when they picked Greg Oden?
Who?
Kevin Durant. No, they're kicking themselves for that one. And coming in at number 1, some might argue Greg Oden could be number 1, but to me, I definitely think this guy is definitely the tops for worst lottery picks in the 2000s. He was picked number 2 in 2003 by the Detroit Pistons, who passed on Carmelo Anthony, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh to make Darko Milicic the number 2 pick in the 2003 draft. Darko went on to have a phenomenal career where he averaged 8 points and 5 rebounds, almost 25 minutes a game, and played for a total of 10 seasons. Who was once considered the next Dirk Nowitzki. Listen, this dude didn't even meet up to Rafe LaFrentz statistics.
Wow.
All right.
Who drafted him?
Detroit.
Wow.
Joe Dumars.
Didn't he end up in LA at one point?
Darko, I'm not certain how many teams he played for over the years, but Yeah, he definitely had a forgettable career. He didn't even get off the bench in his first 2 seasons with Detroit,
Right. Wow.
which were coincidentally the only seasons that he played more than that he was suited up and ready to play for more than 70 games as well. So
Yeah, that's a
recapping,
bad top 5 right there.
so recapping the top 5 worst NBA lottery picks since the 2000s. Coming in at number 5, we have Kwame Brown. At number 4, we have Adam Morrison, drafted number 3 overall by Charlotte. At number 3, we have Anthony Bennett. What a whiff by Cleveland. Number 1 in 2013.
Mhm.
At number 2, we have Greg Oden, who was drafted number 1 in 2007. And coming in at number 1, we have who was thought to be the next Dirk Nowitzki, but wasn't even Rafe LaFrance, Darko Milicic at number 2, drafted by the Detroit Pistons. And that's BK Time's top 5 lottery picks since 2000. Worst lottery picks since 2000.
That's a heck of a top 5 right there. Because usually I'll be like ready to rebut the list. I can't even.
That's why I said since 2000, because I know you would have came with Sam Bowie.
Well, that is definitely.
I got another honorable mention for you.
Sam Bowie. Before you get
ahead.
to that, Sam Bowie wasn't Sam Bowie, Olajuwon, and Jordan in the same draft class?
It was Olajuwon, Bowie, and then Jordan.
Wow,
those were the picks. I got an honorable mention for you.
Go ahead.
We got Ricky Rubio and Johnny Flynn, who were drafted number 5 and number 6, respectively, in 2009 by the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Minnesota Timberwolves drafted 2 point guards back to back with their lottery picks. Wow. Guess who they passed on?
What year was that?
That was 2009. And guess who got picked number 7? Another point guard. I'll give you a hint.
Go ahead.
Another point guard who went on to greatness unparalleled in this league because of his gifted hands when it comes to that 3-pointer.
Oh, Steph?
Steph Curry. Chef Curry at number 7. Minnesota, not only, first of all, they picked 2 point guards back to back.
I remember Ricky Rubio,
which was kind of crazy in itself.
Right.
But then you skipped on Steph Curry, which, I guess I'll give him credit for that. Who's to say that they knew how Steph Curry was going to turn out? But still, to draft 2 point guards back to back, and I don't even think Johnny Flynn stayed in the league I don't even think he was in the league for 4 years. I think he was in the league for like 3 years, maybe 3.5 years, and was
right.
out.
You remember Johnny Flynn?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what's going on, man. Nice list.
No doubt.
That's definitely a BK Ties top 5 worst
for sure.
NBA lottery picks since the year 2000s. That's the word on the streets in the sports in the city, and the haps from the arena. Let us know what's going down. Hit us up on that chat. Hit that like button, that subscribe button, and let us know what you're thinking.
And that notification bell.
Yeah, hit that notification. As the sports equinox progresses, we're gonna make a crescendo towards the new year. Any thoughts on the championship week coming up?
Let's go Michigan State.
Michigan State just got.
Michigan. Sorry, not Michigan State. Michigan.
Okay, Eagles or Niners?
Eagle. Ooh, that's going to be a good one. That is going to be a good one. Where's the game at?
In Philly.
In Philly, I'm gonna go Eagles.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna go Niners. I think they're gonna hand them their second loss of the season.
We'll see. We shall see. Let's see. Hopefully this is an NFC title game preview right here.
We'll see. Could be not. Let's see. Both teams are right there. So I don't think there's gonna be any excuses. That game will be Sunday at 4:20 So if
So
the
we'll be
Niners start
tuned in.
pulling out, you'll get a text or a call from me.
Oh yeah,
The Cowboys
no doubt.
better not drop the ball.
Or you'll
Definitely.
get a call and a text. Call and a text from me.
Thanks for tuning in. Logic, iRant Network, the Ranters Union. You know how we do. Sports in the City TV, live on Facebook, YouTube Live. BK
Shouts out to all
Ty.
sports fans around the world. Salute
Yep.
to all courts, all arenas, all fields.
Shout out to the 718. Shout out to my partner in crime, Brooklyn's own BK Ty. Sports in
Shouts
the
out
City,
to
man.
757 VA, 2 up, 2 down.
Peace and blessings. We out.